Merry meet everyone. It's my second video, and I just wanted to, just welcome anybody who's watching. And, as you know in the first video, this is just kind of like a series that I'm doing to teach people a little bit about Wicca and witchcraft and all the things that are possible for you, all the positivity that it brings into your life. I mean, for me, it really has had such a huge impact and brought so much positivity for me. So I did make notes because I tend to get off topic and I'll end up babbling about something else. So I have my little my guide here to follow. Otherwise, nobody will understand what I'm talking about anymore if I don't have it. So let me get started and say that I'm going to break Wicca and witchcraft down for you. This is the first video. Um, I'm going to do it slowly in increments almost. That way it's not like, a ton of information jam packed into a half hour of time. It's very difficult to learn that way, at least for me. I find that it's very difficult to learn when you have just a ton of information packed in this little bit of time. It's hard to retain the information that you're learning when you have so much of it to learn. So this first video is going to be just breaking it down, giving you some information on witchcraft and Wicca, and facts and misconceptions about it. So I'm going to start off with facts about Wicca. So I'm just going to look at my little guide here. The word Wicca actually comes from the ancient word wis, which means to bend or shape. And if you think about Wicca and a lot of with Wicca, you really are shaping your life into, something more open-minded, being more accepting, learning what's not good for you, what is, you know, is making you feel drained or tired, and learning to protect yourself from things like that and how to do so. Next is Wicca is an earth-based religion. It is believed that all is sacred: plants, trees, water, air, earth, humans, and animals. And most Wiccans live by this rule. Um, I can't speak for all Wiccans because for me, this is what I believe, and a lot of Wiccans do believe this. There are some Wiccans that follow their own rule, and they might differ from, you know, everybody's different. Everybody's path is different. Um, we also live by the rule, and it harm none, do what ye will. And what this means is that you can do whatever you like, just as long as you are harming no one, or nothing. I mean, all life is sacred. The trees that you see outside, they're not just a decoration. They're not um, just this thing that you drive down the street and you see it's beautiful, or, I see, you know, even in the wintertime when they're bare, they're just dormant. They're sleeping. They're not dead. Trees are very much alive. Without trees, we wouldn't be alive. Um, Blades of grass. Each blade of grass holds life energy. Um, Flowers. You can't just define life by what has a beating heart. You know, um, Insects. I don't really care for insects too much. I'll be honest with you. I am not the biggest fan. However, there's a spider in my house. If there's a moth in my house, I would much rather capture it. Not if it's a moth, I won't capture it. I'll have the kids capture it. I'm terrified of moths and centipedes. But it goes back outside. It deserves to live. And even though it's something as small as an insect, it's alive and it deserves to live. Um, Anyone can be a Wiccan. Wicca is not based on, you have to be 16 and goth, or you have to be, 80 and full of knowledge. Like, Wicca is for everyone: children, um, adults, elderly. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter what color your hair is. It doesn't matter any of that. Anybody can practice Wicca. And, you know, Wicca is not for everyone. And what I mean by that is that, some people feel comfortable with Wicca. They feel like it connects with them. That's not going to happen for everyone. Some people connect with, you know, being a Christian or being a Catholic or being a Buddhist or, whatever your religion is. I completely support that. And Wicca is not for everyone, just like being a Catholic is not for everyone. And being a Buddhist is not for everyone. So I will say that. Like, anybody can be a Wiccan, but Wicca is not for everyone. There is no dress code for Wiccans. Um, you don't have to dress in all black and wear boots and spikes. And, like, this is a common misconception. So, I mean, you can wear, you know, you're comfortable with, I mean, I'm a Wiccan and I have a thug life a hug life cat t-shirt on right now. I mean, this is my life. I hug cats quite often. So I live the hug life. And so there is no dress code. You don't have to dress in. The only thing is about that, and I'll get into this in a later video, but I will say, like, when you do ritual, um, to, for the Sabbath and things like that, which I'll also get into that more at a later video, is excuse me, is you find something that is ritual wear, like you have your a dress or a specific outfit that you wear for ritual that has a purpose. Um, so I would definitely, but like I said, I'll get into that more in a later video. Um, this is also a fact about Wicca. Wiccans are not Satanists. As much as I've heard that I'm a devil worshiper because I practice Wicca. If I had a penny for every time I heard that, I have a lot of pennies. Um, in fact, a lot of us don't even believe in the existence of a devil or a Satan. I, for one, do not believe that there is a devil. I will not argue with a Christian or a Catholic or any other religion that believes that there is. That's fine. That's your belief, and I will not tell you that it's not true. Um, because that's what you believe in, and I respect that. For me, being one, I believe that there is a lot of negativity in the world. I believe that there are dark entities. I believe that there are dark people. I do not believe that there is a devil, and that's just my view. Everybody's view is different. The pentagram is not a sign of evil, nor is it a sign of Satanism. The pentagram is a five-pointed star. The very top point of the star it represents the spirit, and it represents the all and the divine. So that would cover, the god and the goddess. There, the top point for me, is like the highest point, and it represents, you know, the divine and I mean, I will get into the god and goddess, in another video and go over all of that. And there are so many different pantheons of gods and goddesses. However, there is, the god and the goddess. So, but we'll get into that more later. The top left point of the pentagram represents air and also represents intelligence and the arts. The top right point of the star represents water and it represents emotions and intuition. The bottom left point represents earth and it represents stability and physical endurance. The bottom right point represents fire and represents courage and daring. Now, think about these points, right? It makes a lot of sense. You have the spirit, the very top point represents the divine. You think about the divine being above you, okay, the highest point. Um, Air represents intelligence and the arts, okay? Air is very wispy. Intelligence is very, it flows. The arts is very, it's the same thing. If you think about how air and those two things, what they have in common. Water represents water and emotions and intuition. That's the top right point. Water flows very smoothly. Emotions flow. Just like there can be changes in water, there can be changes in emotion. The bottom left point represents earth, stability, and physical endurance. If there is anything more stable in the universe, okay, it's going to be these rocks that are floating through, and circling day after day the same path they go, and their gravitational pull and everything is the same all the time. So I could see why the Earth, the bottom left point would be representing the Earth and stability. Excuse me. So those two have a lot in common. I mean, the Earth is for me the most stable thing there is. I mean, we as humans, we are so unpredictable, and there really isn't anything stable about us except for what we believe in, and and the earth we live on. Because really, people change all the time. Our thoughts change constantly. Our feelings change constantly. So I mean, we can be stable, but we're not always stable. If that makes sense. The bottom right point represents fire, and it represents courage and daring. This makes a lot of sense. Fire is intense. Fire, you know, it burns at such intensity. Courage comes from a place where it's like, it just, it's there. It's this strength inside. This, where you can stand up to things. It burns inside of you. It's intense. The same thing, you know. The pentagram is widespread. It's a widespread sacred symbol used since ancient times in many areas, including Egypt, India, Persia, and Greece. The inverted pentagram, which is a pentagram that is flipped upside down with the 2 points at the top and the 1 point at the bottom. This does not represent evil or Satanism. It is true that some Satanists have adopted this symbol, and you know, they've made it like their symbol. Unfortunately, this has given a bad name to the inverted pentagram. Um, for me, this is, I mean, well, this is not something that Wiccans, practice or accept. We do not look at the inverted pentagram as something evil. For me, it represents banishing, getting rid of anything you don't want in your life anymore. A good example is negativity. You can use an inverted pentagram to, you can invoke or you can banish. And I'll get more into that and how to do that in a later video. It is also representation of the horned god, not to be confused with Satan or the devil. For instance, if you look up an image of, I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, but Pan or Pan, he's a god. He's a horned god. He's not a bad god. He's not Satan. He's not the devil. If you look up an image of him, he has two horns. But I will get into, the horned god in a later video as well. I just kind of want to break all this down. You will see that, the horned god is really a very positive thing and not a negative thing. So the next one is each and every person practicing Wicca will have different views on certain things and practice differently than the next person. There is no wrong way to practice Wicca. As long as you are following the right path and doing positive things and not harming anyone, there is no wrong way to practice Wicca. There are even some Wiccans out there that still are Christians, and that's okay. That's fine. There's no wrong way to practice Wicca. Excuse me, I can't seem to get my throat clear today. The path and journey you make as a Wiccan is an individual one. The only exception to this would be joining a coven. You can still have your own views and individuality as a Wiccan when joining a coven. However, when you're in a coven, there are very similar beliefs and ways of practice because you are all doing it as one rather than being a solitary, practicing as a solitary. So those are just some facts about what Wicca is. And now I'm going to tell you what Wicca is not. Wiccans do not sacrifice or harm animals or people. We do not make blood sacrifices at all. We do not deal with blood. So surprising, shocker, But I mean, like we don't. That's not something that we do. I mean, you hear a lot about that in voodoo, but unfortunately, you know, Wiccans, Wicca in general, and witchcraft are almost a taboo subject. I mean, we've come a long way, and people are more open to Wicca and witchcraft than they were before. But it's still a very taboo subject. People still have their own views on what it is and what it's not, and have come to their own conclusions. And one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing this on this video is to kind of break that down a little bit and just kind of show people this is not a negative thing. Like there are a lot of misconceptions about it. The next thing is we are not devil worshippers. We do not worship any devil, Satan, or demonic entity whatsoever. Um, Most Wiccans, and I will say most because I cannot speak for all, but I do know that a lot of Wiccans do not believe that negativity or evil is an organized force. Going back to a Satan, going back to a devil type thing, we do not believe, most of us anyway, do not believe that it is an organized force. We do believe that there is negativity, a lot of negativity out there. We do believe there's evil out there. However, it doesn't come back to one entity that spreads this around. Um, Most Wiccans do not believe that there is even the existence of a hell. I, for one, do not believe that if I um, do something wrong, that I'm going to go to this place and I'm going to burn for eternity. And, that's just my thought. And that's just my opinion. And a lot of Wiccans don't believe in the existence of a hell. Not saying that people who do believe in the existence of a hell are wrong. Like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinions, and I would never tell anyone else that their beliefs are wrong because they're not. You know, um, just everybody, as long as you're believing in something, you can't go wrong. It's something positive. You do not have to be a witch to be a Wiccan, and you do not have to be a Wiccan to be a witch. They are completely separate things. And you do not have to be one to be another. So you can be a Wiccan without being a witch, and you can be a witch without being a Wiccan. That's there are a lot of Wiccans that are witches. They're very similar in what their belief system is, but you don't have to be one to be the other. Wiccans do not partake in sex orgies. There are some traditions that go skyclad. What skyclad is going nude for some ceremonies. Where they go in these ceremonies and they go nude. They feel that, when they are nude, they are more susceptible to absorbing the energy from, the god and the goddess, and it's more natural. There's nothing blocking you, no clothes or shoes or anything blocking you from giving your energy and receiving this energy. However, these are not common in most Wiccan traditions. There are a lot of traditions in Wicca. There are different. I will get into that as well in a different video. There are different traditions, and each and every one of them are different. Um, you have to choose whether you identify with one, or if you find yourself like me, I identify with you know parts of each and every one that makes me you know I can't pin myself down to just one. I dabble in all of them. They all make sense to me. So, but I'll go into that more, and you can decide for yourself. A funny one is we do not fly on broomsticks. As much as I think it would be fantastic if I could hop on a broom and go for a ride, it doesn't happen. I really do wish it would happen. I think that'd be really cool. But unfortunately, we don't fly. We can't fly. The only way we're flying is the same way that you fly if we get on a plane. So that is another misconception. There are some people that think that we have the ability to fly. I mean, it's not very common nowadays, but there are some. We do not cast curses and hexes against people. This is not common practice in Wicca. I cannot speak for everyone because, like I said, there are some people who are Wiccans and are witches that um, do things like this, but it's not common practice. You know, when you are a Wiccan, you follow the reed. Part of the reed that says, "And harm none. Do what you will." I said that backwards. That's okay. You understand what I'm saying? So now I'm going to go into witchcraft and some facts about witchcraft. Same thing as Wicca. Most witches do not believe in or worship a Satan or a devil. A male witch is not considered or called a sorcerer or a wizard. He is in fact a witch. He is referred to as a witch. A witch is not a wizard. A wizard is not a witch. A sorcerer is not a witch. So when you come across a male witch, try to not automatically call him a wizard. This is not what he is. He is a witch. Unfortunately, witches have had this thing attached to it. It's a female. It's not just a female. There are many, many male witches out there. Witchcraft was known as the craft of the wise. And why it was called this is because those who practiced witchcraft long ago lived close to nature. They cured diseases that are diseases of people. That is something that nobody else could do at that time. Kind of like a shaman, you know. They because these witches stayed close to nature, they were able to discover the healing properties of many different plants and herbs. They were able to find out which herbs and plants were good for colds, were good for certain diseases, were good for this, and they used that. There was no medicine back then, and that carried on to you know current times where even now you know many Wiccans and many witches use herbs, oils, candle colors with color magic. They use plants. They use stones and crystals for healing properties. I mean, you can use them for so many different things, like prosperity and things like that. But healing is huge. This is where the healing part comes from way back when there was no medication, there were no anything like that. It was these witches who discovered these healing properties of these herbs and plants. Witchcraft is just that. It is a craft. It is not a religion. Since the basic principles and beliefs of witchcraft are also followed in Wicca, witchcraft is generally identified with religion. But I will say again, just like I said before, Wiccans do not have to be a witch, and witches don't have to be Wiccans. There are many that are both, but you don't have to be both. Witches can either work alone or in covens. There are pros to both. Practicing alone or alongside others in a coven. There are pros to both of these. Um, when you practice alone, practicing as a solitary, you can initiate yourself and start working immediately. Start practicing right away. Whereas, if you're in a coven, you have to wait for someone in the coven to initiate you to start, practicing on your own. And they'll let you participate in certain things, but it's not like where you have this when you practice alone and you kind of have your own learning process and you learn what works for you and what doesn't. Covens are great, because they you work alongside people who have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience that they can share with you, and you learn at a quicker rate. But what happens if when you're learning that way, um, you're you don't feel quite comfortable and you feel like you want to do this instead? That's where maybe solitary practice would be more beneficial for you. Um, Witches, as well as Wiccans, know the power of prayers, worship, and rituals, and they use them to solve problems that afflict people. Um, I can't even begin to tell you how many times people find out that I am Wiccan, and they want to know what they can do to stop this and what they can do to stop that. And I am more than happy, always more than happy to help anyone that needs help. And It's because we know, you know, through time and through study and, gaining knowledge, we attain this knowledge to help people, and what works and what doesn't. And we are very aware that, um, you know, using prayers and rituals and worship to achieve the desired result. I mean, it's really, it's great. Witches, as well as Wiccans, well, most of them anyway, believe in the theory of karma. There are some witches that do not believe in karma. Um, Most of them do. Most people believe in karma. I mean, it doesn't matter what your religion is. They believe that both good and bad deeds that are done by them will come back to them threefold. I firmly believe in this. For me personally, anything that you do, if you do something bad to someone, expect that karma back to you. It comes back threefold. Whatever you've dealt out is going to come back to you worse or better if it's a good deed. If you do something nice for someone, or you go out of your way and help someone, that karma is going to come back to you. The universe, gives it back. So just be aware of this. You know, so many times people become witches and they have this knowledge, um, that there are things that you can do to harm people magic wise. It is not smart to do so. It is not even like human like to do so. I mean, why would you want to hurt someone else? I mean, for me, I just find this, you know, there are times where I get agitated or aggravated with people, and sometimes you're like, oh, like, and the thought process as a human being, it's easy to get angry. It's a little harder to kind of reach that point where you're like, you know what, like, just move beyond it, move past it. That's a better road to take, because not only are you teaching yourself to be a more patient person, a more loving person, a more forgiving person, a more understanding person, but that karma will come back to you. Not taking action and hurting someone. I mean, if you do, then I mean you're only hurting yourself really in the long run, and you have to look at it like that. And now I'm going to go into what witchcraft is not. Excuse me. It does not give you ultimate power to do things like turn people into toads, control the weather, or make someone love you. One of the biggest rules in witchcraft is that you cannot affect someone's free will. It's a big no-no. You just don't want to do that. Why would you want to? Anyway, why would you want to make someone love you who doesn't love you? I mean, wouldn't you want that to be natural? But it's not. I mean, I can't say that we can't do that, but we kind of can't do that, if you get what I mean. Magic does exist, and it is very real, and you are capable of doing many things with it, within reason, of course. Um, magic is real. Magic is very real. Um, you're not gonna, manifest an apple out of thin air. You're not gonna, make a wish and get $1 million. But, there are things that you can do to increase your chances of bringing some money into your life. And, this goes for candle magic. This goes for, using colors. This goes for, herbs, doing different spells with herbs. Magic is very real. It's all about intention and how serious you are and how dedicated you are to your desire. Um, we do not hate other religions. You know, there are some people out there that are less inclined to, you know, speak with a Catholic or a Christian or a Buddha or whatever it may be. There are people who are less inclined, and that is not really a positive way to be. I myself am a firm believer of all religions coexisting peacefully. I believe that we all have the right to believe whatever it is that we want to believe in, as long as we're not hurting anybody, as long as we're not chastising or judging someone else for what they believe in. There is no wrong way to worship a higher power than yourself, and believing that um, there is, you know, one God or a god and goddess and many other goddesses and gods underneath them, as long as you're believing in something positive and it's bringing positivity into your life and into the world, there's no wrong way to do it. I just find for me, Wicca is nature based, it's earth based. You connect with the universe. It makes sense to me. Um, Witchcraft is not Satanism, and we do not worship the devil. Same thing goes, that's with Wicca as well. You know, I, for one, do not believe in the devil. I do not worship the devil. I don't believe in a Satan. So, I mean, it goes right back to that. We do not only practice black magic. It is believed that black magic is a hostile magic. This is simply not true. Black magic is not bad or evil. It is very much a part of the balance. Just as you have daytime, you have the opposite, which is nighttime. You have the balance. Um, just like you have life, with life there is death. And that's how you keep the balance. With witchcraft, you have your white magic, you have black magic, you even have gray magic. It's to keep the balance. If you only had, you know, it just wouldn't, everything in life has to have the opposite to balance out. Um, so there needs to be balance in everything, and that does not exclude witchcraft. Everything is balanced in witchcraft as well. It is a positive and beautiful process, just like in the winter and the summer. You have your complete opposites. In the winter, the earth goes dormant, sleeping. Okay, your days are cold, your nights are colder. Um, you can always find positivity in those moments. So you can come home to your family, you can have all enjoy a cup of hot chocolate and put on a movie, and then you have your summertime. Beautiful outside. So life has come back to the earth. The sun is shining. It's warm. So there is always a balance in life. No matter where you look, there's a balance. Witchcraft does not involve demonic possession. The fact is, some witches do not even believe in the existence of demons, while others do. In general, witches do not consort with demons at all. I, for one, believe there are very dark entities. I don't know if I would call them demons. Um, I'm not inclined to call them demons. I don't know what to call them, just dark entities. I do not consort, with dark entities whatsoever. There is no reason to. There is no purpose for it. So I just kind of stay far away from that altogether. But we, as a whole, we do not take part in demon possession. We do not cause people to get sick, or quite the opposite. Actually, when people get sick, we can actually help them get better. Um, so just to, that's the last one. Just throw it out there. We are not these evil, beings that go and just throw demons into people. Like, hey, have some fun with this one. Like we don't do that. And so I just wanted to break this down. Like this is for, it's already been, I see 33 minutes. So, I don't want to make my videos too long because it's kind of hard to be able to watch them if they're an hour. Like it's hard, it's easier for people to find a half hour in their day, especially if they're super busy, rather than if they have an hour. I mean, yeah, because a lot of people maybe can't find an hour. There are a lot of people who have kids and work and go to school or whatever, and it's easier to break it down into small little increments. So this is it for this video. Excuse me. My next video, I'm going to start getting into Wicca and witchcraft and the history behind them. Being a Wiccan and or a witch, it is super important to know the history of your beliefs, to know where they come from, to know why, um, where this belief came from, why it's there, to know the struggles that witches and Wiccans have had to go. I mean, Wiccan is fairly recent. Wicca is really based off pagan beliefs. Wicca is fairly modern. Witchcraft is, gone back for, I mean, as long as you can remember. So it's really important to know what it is that you're involving yourself with. Anybody who practices any religion at all really should know the history behind it. They should be informed and aware um, of where it comes from and things like that. So I'm also going to go into things like Wheel of the Year. The Wheel of the Year, it's a circle and it's broken down into 8 Sabbats. Each Sabbath represents a different time of the year, and I will go through that next time. I may or may not go through how to celebrate each Sabbath. I will be providing you rituals that you can, always start off with. They're really easy, and you don't need fancy tools or like you do need an altar space. It doesn't have to be one set up all the time. You can have a temporary one. You can have one that's you can bring with you to the park or wherever you want to worship, wherever you want to do your rituals. um but I may or may not go into what each Sabbath is. I'm going to go into the Sabbaths and what they are and what they mean, but I may, depending on time, may not go into like celebrating each one and like rituals and things like that. So we will see. I will also go in over the Wiccan Read, which is it's fairly big, but it's not huge. Um, Going over, you know, what we believe in as Wiccans, and the read is something that we follow, kind of like the rules a little bit. I don't want to say rules because it almost sounds like you're tied down to doing one thing and that's it. It's just something to follow. It's like a guide. That's really what it is. And then you have your 13 goals of a witch. So I will go over that as well. And I do hope this video was helpful in breaking some, facts and myths down for all of you, and um, just kind of giving you an idea of really what it is and what it's not. And I'll be making another video in a couple of days, and I'll go over the things that I just discussed. And I do hope that yesterday was the first day of fall, which in Wicca, it's Mabon. So I do hope that you all had an amazing Mabon, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay, bye!